حوضي قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت: عليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي: يا أماه، إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت: نعم، إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جداه. السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله. أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال: السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال: يا فاطمة، إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت: نعم، ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله. أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له: وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء. ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت: السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله. أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال: وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء. فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال: اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنه. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم، وعدو لمن عاداه ومحب لمن أحبه إنهم مني وأنا منهم فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. الله. فقال الله عز وجل: يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي، إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدخية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل: يا رب ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل: هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. اللهم صل على محمد. فقال جبرائيل: يا ربي أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله: نعم، قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك: وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدخية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله عليك السلام: يا أمين وحي الله، إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء فقال لأبي: إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول: إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. الله. فقال علي لأبي: يا رسول الله، أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي: والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا، إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي: إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال النبي ثانيا: يا علي، والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض، وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا، وفيه مهموم إلا وفرج الله همه، ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه، ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجته. فقال علي: إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا، وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. اللهم صل على محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. For the love of Ahl Bayt عليهم السلام أجمعين صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Our well wishes to the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, on the birth anniversary of his forefather, grandfather, Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam. May Allah erect that shrine, inshallah, Jannat al-Baqir, and give us the ability to do our respect and visitation, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, blessings and gratitude and love to our Sayyid Amin for that beautiful recitation. I'm going to request our respected elder Sayyid Shahzad, inshallah, for a few words of manqabat in the honor of this blessed night. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. The podium.
सलवात। हम हुसैनी हैं, किसी मंजिल पे जाना है हमें। हम हुसैनी हैं, किसी मंजिल पे जाना है हमें। अहले आलम ने हमारी करबला तो देख ली, अहले आलम ने हमारी करबला तो देख ली। करबला का दूसरा अब रुख दिखाना है हमें, करबला का दूसरा अब रुख दिखाना है हमें। सलवात। किसकी आमद पर मदीना यूं मुअत्तर हो गया, किसकी आमद पर मदीना यूं मुअत्तर हो गया। लग रहा है ऐसे जैसे मुश्क अंबर हो गया, लग रहा है ऐसे जैसे मुश्क अंबर हो गया। और है सभी हुरो मलक देखो तो मशरूफ़े तवाफ़, है सभी हुरो मलक देखो तो हैं मशरूफ़े तवाफ़। ऐसे मिसले काबा सैयदे सज्जाद का घर हो गया, मिसले काबा सैयदे सज्जाद का घर हो गया। एक आयत और नाजिल हो गई कौसर की आज, एक आयत और नाजिल हो गई कौसर की आज। दुश्मने आले नबी अबतर से अबतर हो गया, दुश्मने आले नबी अबतर से अबतर हो गया। फातिमा बिनते हसन, फातिमा बिनते हसन हैं और अली इब्नुल हुसैन। मजमउल बहरैन ملنا پھر مقدر ہو گیا، اور حامل علم و لدنی حضرت باقر صلوات حامل علم لدنی حضرت باقر بھی ہیں۔ آج شہر علم کا واہ پھر سے ایک در ہو گیا، آج شہر علم کا واہ پھر سے ایک در ہو گیا، اور جب سلام احمد مختار جابر نے دیا، جب سلام احمد مختار جابر نے دیا، یوں لگا جیسے کہ دیدار پیمبر ہو گیا، یوں لگا کہ جیسے دیدار پیمبر ہو گیا۔ عظمتیں کیا خوب بخشی ہے خدائے پاک نے، عظمتیں کیا خوب بخشی ہے خدائے پاک نے، خلد کا دربان بھی مولا کا نوکر ہو گیا، خلد کا دربان بھی مولا کا نوکر ہو گیا۔ ہوں جو جابر یا زہیر یا حسام او ابو بشیر، صحبت معصوم سے قطرہ سمندر ہو گیا، صحبت معصوم سے قطرہ سمندر ہو گیا۔ جب چلایا تیر مولا نے تو عالم یہ ہوا، جب چلایا تیر مولا نے تو عالم یہ ہوا، خوف حاکم کو ہوا حیرت میں لشکر ہو گیا، خوف حاکم کو ہوا حیرت میں لشکر ہو گیا۔ یاد کر کے عمر بھر روتے رہے میرے امام، یاد کر کے عمر بھر روتے رہے میرے امام، سب نظر کے سامنے کربل کا منظر ہو گیا، سب نظر کے سامنے کربل کا منظر ہو گیا۔ اے حسام عبد الملک لعنت ہو تجھ پہ بے شمار، اے حسام عبد الملک لعنت ہو تجھ پہ بے مثال، اور قاتل باقر تیرا چہرہ بھینکر ہو گیا، قاتل باقر تیرا چہرہ بھینکر ہو گیا، اور علم کی ایسی جلایا شمع عالم میں نقی، علم کی ایسی جلایا شمع عالم میں نقی، ذرہ ذرہ نور باقر سے منور ہو گیا، ذرہ ذرہ نور باقر سے منور ہو گیا۔ صلوات۔ قبر میں خاک شفا وجہ صفات ہو گئی، قبر میں خاک شفا وجہ صفات ہو گئی، ایک مٹھی خاک پھیلی کیوں جنت ہو گئی، قبر میں خاک شفا وجہ صفات ہو گئی، ایک مٹھی خاک پھیلی کیوں جنت ہو گئی، گرم ریتی کے سوا کیا تھی زمین کربلا، گرم ریتی کے سوا کیا تھی زمین کربلا، جب قدم شبیر نے رکھا تو جنت ہو گئی۔ صلوات۔
أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Alhamdulillah on your safe arrival, alhamdulillah on the safe arrival of our Sheikh. Today we're blessed with having amongst us Sheikh Naem Al-Amry, who was born in East Africa, grew up in this country, and has been studying Hawza for 10 years. Not only a teacher at the Al-Sadiq Academy in Windsor, but also has been teaching Quran and Tafsir in the Imam Hussein Center in Windsor. But before we get him to the member, there's one more brother that we will hear his manqabat, his words in the honor of Ahlul Bayt, and it's no stranger and hardworking, our brother Ghayur Haidar, inshallah. With your loud salawat, he will be here in a second. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
صلوات۔ ایک اور صلوات پڑھ دیں، محمد و آل محمد۔ ناد علی کا ورد جو کرتی چلی گئی، عمر رواں سکون سے گزرتی چلی گئی۔ ناد علی کا ورد جو کرتی چلی گئی، عمر رواں سکون سے گزرتی چلی گئی۔ دنیا سے ذکر آل محمد نہ رک سکا، دنیا یہ آرزو لیے مرتی چلی گئی۔ موت آ رہی تھی دیکھا جو لب پر علی کا نام، مجھ سے ملے بغیر گزرتی چلی گئی۔ ناد علی کا ورد جو کرتی چلی گئی، عمر رواں سکون سے گزرتی چلی گئی۔ صلوات۔ مدحت حیدر میرے لب پر ذرا آنے تو دو، مدحت حیدر میرے لب پر ذرا آنے تو دو، داد مجھ کو دل اگر مانے تو دو، مدحت حیدر میرے لب پر ذرا آنے تو دو، خود بخود پھرتے نظر آئیں گے طوفانوں کے رخ، خود بخود پھرتے نظر آئیں گے طوفانوں کے رخ، تم فضا میں پرچم عباس لہرانے تو دو، مدحت حیدر میرے لب پر ذرا آنے تو دو، ہوش میں آ جائیں گی فوراً سپاہ بد صفات، ہوش میں آ جائیں گی فوراً سپاہ بد صفات، تم محبان علی کو جوش میں آنے تو دو، مدحت حیدر میرے لب پر ذرا آنے تو دو، کون رویا کون سویا سب پتہ چل جائے گا، کون رویا کون سویا سب پتہ چل جائے گا، تم شب ہجرت کا قصہ ہم کو دہرانے تو دو، مدحت حیدر میرے لب پر ذرا آنے تو دو، دیکھنا کیسا توانا ہوگا یہ لاغر مریض، دیکھنا کیسا توانا ہوگا یہ لاغر مریض، مجلس شہ کا تبرک تم میں سے کھانے تو دو، مدحت حیدر میرے लब पर ज़रा आने तो दो। साफ आएगा नजर मैदान ताहद्दे नजर, साफ आएगा नजर मैदान ताहद्दे नजर। हज़रते अब्बास को मैदान में आने तो दो। मिदहते हैदर मेरे लब पर ज़रा आने तो दो। दाद मुझको दिल अगर माने तो दो। सलावत।
محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Our salam to the Imam of our time, as-salam to Imam al-Baqir, Baqir al-Ulum. All our Imams are universities on their own. It was Imam al-Baqir, Sadiq alayhum as-salam, that had the opportunity at that time to flourish the madhab, the teachings of the Rasul al-Azam. Inshallah, today in the next few minutes, it's few minutes compared to the lessons in the universities of Imam al-Baqir. We'll hear from Sheikh Naem Al-Amry today. Inshallah, he will be with us tomorrow as well on the Shahada. Today, inshallah, with your loudest of salawat, if you want to take a few steps up and come a little bit closer so we can have a cozy gathering in the honor of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. Sheikh Naem Al-Amry, welcome to the member. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلى الله على محمد وآل محمد. If we can have another salawat for the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if we can please illuminate our soul in this room with another salawat for the love of Fatima az-Zahra alayha salam. And the last one with our loudest voices, with an enthusiastic salawat for the love and the safety of the Imam of our time, Imam Mahdi Ajallah Farajum wa Sharif, Sallallahu Muhammadin wa Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Respected brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. When we look into the lives of these divine Imams who were sent to us as a guidance, as a beacon of guidance by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they guide us through darkness into the light. When we look at their lives, when we look at their behavior, when we look at their lineage, we will see that it's nothing but pure lineage. And this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent them to guide us. For example, if we look into today's society, when we want to take someone as a role model, we always study their characteristics first. Either it's for marriage or it's for friendship. Because Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, what does he say? He says, show me your friends and I will tell you who you are. What does he say? Show me your friends and I will tell you who you are. Here, Amir al-Mu'mineen is telling us that choosing our friends is, we should choose them very wisely. Why? Is because someone, an individual, will take the characteristics of their friend. If we look at the society today, either, it doesn't matter about the age, either you're from the old generation, from the mid-generation, or from the new generation. There's always these types of individuals in every single generation that we look at. From the beginning of time till now and till the end of time, it will continue having this. Look at every single society. Look at every single community. You will see certain individuals. One is the person who is able to influence others. Second is the one who is able to be influenced. Every single friend group that we have, look at it. You will see one amongst that friend is able to influence the whole friend group. Give you an example. Let's say, for example, they want to go eat something. One friend that's able to influence someone will be like, you know what? I want sushi today. The other person is like, you know what? No. I want to go to a Mediterranean restaurant. The one who has the most influence will usually will get the restaurants of his choice. Why? Because he's able to convince the whole of his friends group where is it to go. Now, if we have friends who are influenced but use it in a bad way, in a negative way, what would they say? You know what? Don't go to the mosque. Let's go to this place. Let's go to this gathering instead. Now, if I'm the follower, what will happen? I will easily be influenced in whatever it is that my friend chooses. This is why it's so important for us to choose friends with good character. Even when we are to marry, unfortunately nowadays, people just want to marry just for the title marriage, just to say I'm married. But you know, we should choose our spouses very wisely. When choosing a spouse, we shouldn't just look at the credentials, meaning what? This person is starting to be a doctor. So what? This person is starting to be in engineering. So what? What is the characteristics like? Who cares, with all due respect, who cares if they're starting to be a doctor? Why? Because if the characteristics is foul, then what does that tell me about my generation? And the generation after them. And after them. Right? We have to create a generation with intellect, with wisdom, and knowledge. And who thirsts for knowledge, just like how we thirst for water. And the thirst of knowledge will never be quenched, brothers and sisters. But our characteristics will make us closer and closer in quenching the thirst of knowledge. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Nowadays, when we ask our youth, who are your role models? What would they tell us? Messi, Ronaldo, right? LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and so forth, depending on the generation you ask. Maybe nowadays people don't even know who Michael Jordan is, right? But probably the older ones know who I'm talking about. Nowadays, it's all about who's better, LeBron James or Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, right? It's always these three that are compared. But now if we were to ask our youth, I challenge the fathers. I challenge the fathers, and I challenge the youth to answer this question. When was Imam Muhammad Baqir born? Silence, right? If I do not know this answer, then no, surely I need to study it. I need to know it. But if I was to ask someone, if I was to ask the crowd or the youth, how many goals does Ronaldo have? You will see hands going up. How many goals does Messi have compared to Ronaldo? How many championships does this individual have? A lot of youth will be able to answer this. But if we ask them one question, when is your Imam born? Right? A few will say the 1st of Rajab, which he was born on the 1st of Rajab. What is the meaning of Baqir? Baqir means the person who splits. So Imam Muhammad Baqir is known to split the knowledge, the splitter of knowledge, the splitter of ulum. He was able to split the knowledge. Why? Because he was able, he had the opportunity to teach knowledge. Him and his father, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Were able to spread knowledge out. So now when we study the characteristics of one person and the other person, we should always try to mirror the characteristics of these divine imams. Why? Because when we look at their lives, we will learn so much more just by reading their characteristics by itself. Just by analyzing and studying the characteristics by itself, we will be able to implement that and also build a stronger community for the youth. Because nowadays, brothers and sisters, your generation is okay. Your children's generation is okay. But what generation should we worry about? 2-3 generations after. Why? Because before, when you were to look into the crowd, subhanAllah, you'll never find a place to sit. And as the generations go on, more and more space open up. Why? Because the youth are being lost to the streets. Sometimes this is the fault of the youths themselves. But mostly it is the fault of the community. Forgive me, but the truth needs to be told. Although it is harsh, but the truth needs to be heard. Why? Because the characteristics of these individuals are not being implemented in our community. Why? Because we will have speakers who don't speak the same language as our youths. And here I'm not speaking English. I'm not talking about English. They do not speak the same language as the youth. You will have some speakers who will not sit down with the youth, who will not bring themselves to the levels of the youth in order to understand them. For example, in psychology, when you want to speak to a youth, when you want to speak to your child, you never stand up and you never look down on them. Why? Because here the child will never listen to you. I will teach you a trick, a key trick in teaching the children how to speak, how a parent should speak to a child. We should never tell a child, go do this because I said so. Nowadays, children or youth of today, they want to hear reasoning behind whatever it is that you're saying. So if I tell my child, go pray, and I'm sitting in front of the TV watching TV, my child is going to look at me and say, you don't pray. Who are you to tell me what to do? Right? And then I have the audacity to discipline my child. Why? Because he has this tongue on him. I have raised him this way. So it is no surprise that he responds to me in this manner. But if I want a child to follow or to listen, I should go down to their level. And I should speak to them in a language that they understand. Sometimes us parents tend to speak to them like they're adults. But yet we tell them, you act like a child. But yet we speak to them like they're adults. No. Let us go down to their level, literally, physically down to their level, and try to speak to them with respect. And here you will see that they will mirror the same character when they raise the generations to come. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Now don't get me wrong. There are children out there that, subhanAllah, I don't know where they came from. You know, I don't know who raised them, because it wasn't the parents that raised them. So I understand. There are some children out there that Allahu Akbar. You know, sometimes we're like, oh man, I've never treated my father or my parents this way. I don't know where you came from, right? Or we tell them, maybe the doctor switched you at birth. You're not my child, right? Subhanallah. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. So if we want a better upbringing, if we want a better future, we must focus on the youth, because the youth are the future of today, not the future of tomorrow. Tomorrow is too late, brothers and sisters. They're the future of now. We must change now, right? We must have this concept of now, not the concept of insha'Allah, right? Sometimes parents will know this a lot. When we tell our kids insha'Allah, right, especially the Arab community, it means no, right? Insha'Allah, insha'Allah. Allah Kareem, right? Insha'Allah, Allah Kareem. This means no, you can't do it, right? They just tell you insha'Allah, Allah Kareem, just to get you off their back. So, sorry parents for giving away the secrets, but this is the secrets. So, now we must raise our child in a way that we have an open communication with our children. Why? Because we are advised, even in psychology, we are told the theory of the 3 sevens. What's the 3 sevens? From 0 to 7 years old, when the child is 0 to 7 years old, the parents is the child's servants, meaning the child is the king, right? So whoever's under 7, parents forgive me if you brought your children here. 0 to 7, you are their servants. From the age 0 to 7, you are their servants. From 7 to 14, what happens? Here you begin teaching them. You begin what? To teach them. Because when we look at females, when did they turn baligha? At the age of 9. Boys, at the age of 14. Right? 14, 15, around that area, and they have signs, of which I'm not going to go through on the member. Inshallah, your teachers can go through this, or your parents can go through the signs with you. But from 14 to 21, you treat them like your friend. Here we also see the same teaching in Islam. We are told the same way by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. So from 0 to 7, you treat them like they're your king and they're your masters. 7 to 14, you start teaching them. Why? Because from 0 to 7, you're sort of building that foundation, that trust. In therapy, we usually build trust with the patients. Even doctors, any doctor in the crowd can tell you that they must build a trust with their patient. Why? Because if the patient is supposed to go under a knife and they don't trust the doctor, like, I don't know if you're going to cut this wrong. I don't know if you're going to cut the right place. I don't know if you're going to do the surgery right? You have to build that trust relationship. So with the child, you're raising the child. You have to build that trust relationship between you and the child. In order to build that trust relationship, there has to be an open conversation. So when the child does something that the parent does not approve, the child does not have to be afraid to come to the parent and say, listen, Baba, Mama, I've done this. Have a conversation with the child. Let them know that, listen, it's okay, we all make mistakes. But nowadays, it's just like what? It's the champal, the whatever it is that we call it, the shahata, right? Or go to your room, straight away punishments. When they grow up with this mentality, they become afraid to make mistakes. Why? Because they're already being programmed. If I make a mistake, I'm going to get punished. If I make a mistake, I'm going to get punished. Now, to unwind that becomes really hard as a parent. Because 7 years of their life, they've been taught, if I make a mistake, my parents are going to punish me. Right? To the point that they exaggerate, say, my parents are going to kill me. Right? So here we have to have mercy on our children. This is why we have to treat them in this manner. And that way, when they reach the age from 7 to 14, they're able to listen with an open mind. And they're able to respect their parents and listen to whatever it is that the parents want them to do. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam has told us many advices. I would like to read 3 advices that Amir al-Mu'mineen has given us. After Allah, sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. One of the advice that Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam gave us is, he says, if you want to test the characteristics of someone, so here we're testing, right? That loyal friend or that friend, we think that he has good characteristics. Or if we want to test our children, right? If you want to test someone's character, give him respect, right? Sometimes we say respect is earned, not given. No, give them respect. Amir al-Mu'mineen says, give them respect. If the person has good character, he will respect you more. If he has bad character, he will consider himself to be the best of all people. Give a person respect, right? If the person gives you respect, and not even respect, more respect than what you're giving him, know that this person is of good character. But if he's saying, oh, this person just giving me respect because I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, I have this much PhDs, right? I'm a sheikh. This is why this person's giving me respect. And they think high of themselves. Know that this person is of bad character. So strain this individual out. The second advice that he gives us, he says, do not keep company of an evil person, for surely your character will acquire something of his character without you even realizing it. Remember in the beginning I said, Amir al-Mu'mineen said what? Show me your friends and what? I will tell you who you are. This is why. If we stay around people with negative characteristics, we will tend to absorb that characteristics within our own character. Right? Remember, there's the influence and the influencer. Sometimes we're both. And sometimes we're one out of the other. So this is why we have to be careful in who we keep around us. The third advice he gives us, he says, obviously, show me your friends and I will tell you who you are. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. In a famous narration, Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam, our fifth Imam, whose birthday is that we're celebrating today, says a very important quote. And this quote, brothers and sisters, if we take nothing from this lecture, then at least let us try to apply this quote into our lives. He says the following. Imam Muhammad Baqir says, he gives us a warning. He says, I advise you regarding 5 things. I advise you regarding what? 5 things. If you are wrong, do not commit wrong. Do not commit doing wrong to others. Meaning what? Sometimes, if we're wrong, we tend to talk bad about the person who wronged us. We're like, they wronged us, but it's true. It's true what they say, right? It's true they do this. But wait, we have to understand ghiba and namima. What's the difference between ghiba and namima? Ghiba, it's something that someone has done, or it's something negative about a person that is true. Namima, it's spreading slanderous things that are not even true. So even though it's true, let us not backbite, which is ghiba. Namima is to slander someone saying something that's not true, to spread rumors. Ghiba, although it's true, we should keep it concealed within ourselves. Why? Because if we want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to conceal our sins, then we should conceal the sins of our brothers and sisters. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. And then he says, if you are betrayed, do not betray anyone. If you are called a liar, do not be furious. If you are praised, do not be overjoyed. If you are criticized, do not be anxious. And think what is said in criticism. If you find it within yourself, what is criticized about you. So for example, if someone says, you know what? This person doesn't study enough. This person is not learned. And if I take that criticism and I'm like, you know what? This person is right. I am not learned. I do not pray a lot. What should I do? We should focus on praying. If I'm criticized and it is true, then you know what? Then I should take that as an advice and I should change my ways of life. And then he says, then, Sallallahu Muhammadin wa Muhammad Salih. Then he says, but if it's a lie, then forgive that person. If criticism in you find yourself, what is criticized about you, then you are falling down in the eyes of God. When you are furious about the truth, it is much greater calamity than you're falling down in the eyes of people. And if you're opposite of it, meaning the criticism that said about you, then it is a merit you have acquired without having to tire yourself in obtaining it. Meaning what? If it's not true, then you know what? I haven't have to obtain this certain quality. That's whatever it is that the person said. Then you know what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward that person that's being spoken about, although it's not true. And what we should do if someone is slandering us, we should ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive them. Why? So that our rankings can be higher in heaven. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa in Surah Al-Fussilat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us a very important lesson when it comes to character. Surah Fussilat is chapter 41. Verse 34, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the following. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Good and evil are not equal. Good and evil are what? Not equal. With that which is good, and you will see that he between whom you are their enmity shall become as if he were old close friends. So he says, good and evil are not good. Repel evil with what which is good. Meaning what? Nahi anil munkar. If we do nahi anil munkar and we repel evil with good, we treat them with kindness, what will happen? They will turn around that person treating us with evil deeds, doing evil deeds towards us, or treating us evil, or treating us in a negative manner. If we treat them with positive, in return, they will start to realize that, listen, I've done nothing but negative to this person. And all he's done is treating me in a positive manner. If we look at Rasulullah, people treated him in a negative manner. Did he turn around and treat them with a negative manner? No. He turned around and treated them with a positive manner. To the point even some people, a lot of people entered Islam just through the akhlaq of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. So, if we cannot control how people treat us, just remember this advice. We can never control how people treat us. We can never control that. You can try all you want. You can't control how people treat you. But what could you do? The only thing that you can control is how you treat others. Because how you treat others is you're saying, you're representing how your parents raised you. How they treat you, they're representing how they were brought up. Right? So be the influencer. Be the person who influenced. Even if you feel like you're influenced, be the influencer at this time. Why? Because when you do this, good character will come out from you. So if this person was to slander you, they'll be like, no, this person is not like that. I challenge anyone here. Go and read about what the enemies of Rasulullah say about him. None of them will slander him. None of them will say he's untrustworthy. Even his enemies will know that he was trustworthy. Here we say, but this is Rasulullah. He's the prophet of God. Yes, he's the prophet of God, but he was sent down as an exemplar for us. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. I know I'm coming close to the end. Inshallah, I'd like to read 5 advices from Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam that we should at least try, inshallah, to teach our youth, and also we should try to implement it within our lives after Allah Salat Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. One is forbearance. It's said that once a Christian person came to our fifth Imam making fun of his name. You know, sometimes people like to make fun of names. You know, kids make fun of names. Because his name is Baqir. So this Christian person, astaghfirullah, he used to call the Imam Baqara. A cow, it means cow, it means female cow. He used to call him Baqara. Oh Baqara. Now instead of the Imam getting annoyed or getting mad at him, he used to correct him. He's like, my name is Baqir. He continued on, he said, oh Baqara. Oh cow. He kept on disrespecting him. Now he realized, like, he saw the Imam treating him kindness. Like, you know what? Let me try to open another door or to try to make him angry. You know, sometimes kids do this, especially if you have a younger brother. If they know they can't annoy you through this side, they try to go through the other door to annoy you, right? So he was like, okay, you know what? Baqarah is not working. Let me try another way. Let me try to insult his mom. Right? Sometimes moms are red buttons, right? So he told the Imam, he's like, your mom, you are the son of the lady that cooks. You are the son of what? The lady that cooks, meaning you are the son of the servant. Who are you? You're nothing. He looked at him and he said, that was the occupation of my mother. My mother's occupation is to cook. You're right. So you see, he never went back and made fun of his mom. Right? When we look at Imam Hussein alayhi salam, I don't mean to bring a sad occasion, but when we remember Imam Hussein alayhi salam during Hur, right? Imam Hussein said something. And then Hur said, what? If it was any other Arab man, meaning you would have been finished right now. But because your mother is Fatima al-Zahra alayha salam, Allahumma I will not do anything. And then the person's like, okay, you know what? Let me try to dig deeper with the mothers. With the mother. He says, your mother was a vile black woman. Was a vile black lady. You know, basically it's like using vulgar words towards the mother nowadays. What did the Imam respond? The Imam responded by saying that the following. Says, if what you say is true, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive her sins. And if it is false, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive you. Here the person realized, subhanallah, I'm throwing every single insult at the Imam and the forbearance on him. What happened? This person ended up accepting Islam. Because just through the akhlaq, he did not teach him tawheed, he did not teach him nabuwah, he didn't teach him anything. Just forbearance allowed him to enter Islam. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. The second lesson that we can take from Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam was his generosity for his brothers in faith. Once, it was narrated by Salma, who was a servant of the Imam. She reports the following. He says, the Imam never grew tired of his brothers, meaning his guests around him. You know, sometimes when you have guests, you're like, you know what, you've overstayed your stay, please leave. Or I want to sleep, please leave. No, the Imam allowed them to stay. He always used to stay in his surroundings, to sit with them, to conversate with them, to eat with them. And to the point that he was so generous that Salma narrated that said, I was so scared that the Imam will go poor because of the amount of things he used to give away. He used to give away so much money because of his generosity. I was scared that the Imam will go poor. So Salma approached the Imam and told him about his concern. the Imam said the following. He said, O Salma, the beauty of this world lies in the bond of brotherhood and acquaintances. The beauty of this world lies where? In brotherhood and acquaintances. So having friendship, building that strong relationship with friends who has good character is the beauty of this world. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Now here, if you have a spouse, you're going to love this, inshallah. The rights of the spouse. The third one is the rights of the spouse. Once, two companions visited the Imam. And they saw the Imam, sometimes, especially guys are guilty of this. The wives will beautify themselves, right? They want to go out for dinner. The wives will beautify themselves in nice clothing or whatever. And the guy, what would they wear? Right? Jeans and a t-shirt. Right? Just jeans and a t-shirt and slippers sometimes. Or if they're lucky, if the women are lucky, they'll wear jeans. And sometimes they'll wear shorts, cargo shorts, slippers, socks, and yalla, ma salam, let's go. The wife will be like, you going like that? Right? But here, the Imam even respected the rights of the spouse. So once two his companions visited the Imam. When they walked in the Imam's house, they found the Imam with beautiful clothing. He had kuhul on his eyes, right? He had beautiful fragrance. And they sat down with the Imam. And then when they left, the Imam told them, come back tomorrow. They're like, okay, we'll come back tomorrow. The next day, these two same companions came back. But what's the difference? They saw the Imam not wearing those clothes that he was wearing the previous day. So they asked the Imam, Imam, yesterday we saw you wearing this clothes. Today we're saying you dress like this. Why? So the Imam told them, last night when you came to visit me, I was with my wife. I was spending time with my wife. My wife beautified herself for me. So I also went out of my way to beautify myself for her. Sometimes guys, we get this fresh haircut, fresh lineup, only during our wedding days, right? Or when we're going to our wedding. That's when we want to dress to impress, right? But otherwise, we don't want to dress to impress when we have the wife. Because she already married me, so what else do I need to impress her for, right? She already fell for it, it's okay. So we always need to beautify ourselves. Use one day. I know probably the wives will use this against you, but use one day. Out of the 7 days, use one day and use it as a date night between you and your wife. Hire a babysitter for your kids. Take your wife out. Appreciate her. Appreciate her for what she does for your offspring. Why? Because when the offspring sees this, when your child sees this, they learn from you how to treat their mothers. They learn from you how to treat their spouses. Right? We don't just sit them down. Listen, Habibi, better, when you get married, you have to respect your wife. But me, myself, I don't take my wife one day out of the week. I don't take her out. Every Friday, bring her flowers. Bring her flowers every Friday. Surprise her with something. Right? After today, I think, maybe today is my last day. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. The fourth advice that the Imam gives us, he says, surrendering one's self to Allah's will. Also here, when we look at the Imam, his son was sick. And he was very, very stressed out. He was very stressed out at the fact that his son was sick. You know, sometimes our sons are very, very sick, and the father gets very stressed out. So the Imam was very stressed out, so his companions see him. He was very stressed out. To the point that when his son passed away, his mood changed. He was no longer stressed out. He was satisfied. He was content of what happened. Then his companions asked him, like, when your son was sick, obviously I'm paraphrasing the story. When your son was sick, you were very stressed out, you were very bothered, you were very anxious. But when he passed away, you were content. What did he say? He replied, he's like, when my son was sick, this is like any other father will do. But when Allah's creed and Allah's order has come to take my son, I have to be pleased with Allah's decision. Why? Because Allah is the one that decided to take my son. And I have to be pleased with whatever Allah has decreed. Because we have to remember that our children are an amana from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take back the amana whenever He wishes. Not whenever I wish. Not whenever the father wishes. Not whenever the mother wishes. Whenever Allah wishes to take this amana back, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take it back. To see, sometimes we love our children, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be like, no, love me more. Let's see who you love more. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take away what we love. Our fifth is praying together. Praying together is very important, brothers and sisters, than praying by yourselves. Even praying in jama'ah is very, very, very important. Why? Because a person can pray by themselves, no problem. Put it like this. If I was to tell you, for every time you pray by yourself, I'm going to give you $1. I'll give you what? $1 for every prayer you pray by yourself, not jama'ah. But for every jama'ah you pray, I'll give you $10,000. Which one would you take? Obviously, you'll take the jama'ah because you want $10,000, right? Now, how many prayers do we have in a day? 5. 50,000 a day. Sorry, 50,000 a day. Just praying jama'ah by itself. You know, sometimes when we're depressed, right? When we feel distress, not stress, distress. When we feel distress, we should be around people because this will help us. This will help us. It will cure our distress. Stress is normal, by the way. It's the distress that we don't like. When we feel distress, sit amongst people with positive attitude, and you will see that you will cure yourself through this distress. And through prayers, through du'as, when you're praying together, that's why in Shahr Ramadan, in the big nights, Laylatul Qadr, why do you think we come together to pray together? Because when one brother prays for another brother, the dua 100% is accepted. So when we pray for each other, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts that dua right away. So this is why it's important for us to pray together. So again, 1 is forbearance. 2 is generosity for the brothers in faith. 3 is the right of your spouse. 4 is surrendering ourselves for the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And 5 is praying together. I would like to conclude this discussion of ours with the saying of Amir al-Mu'mineen after Allah sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. He says, people are of 2 types. People are of what? Of 2 types. They are either your brothers in faith or your equal in humanity. Either what? Your brothers in faith or your equal in humanity. If we practice, obviously I'm speaking to myself first, if I practice this, And if all of us practice this hadith, we will see the community improving itself, and it will grow day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute. Sallallahu Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Ya ahadu ya ahad. Ya samadu ya samad. يا من لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بحق ياسين القرآن الحكيم وبحق طه والقرآن العظيم يا من يقدر حوائج السائلين يا من يعلم في الضمير يا منفسا للمكروبين يا مفرجا للمغمومين يا راحم الشيخ الكبير يا رازق طفل الصغير يا من لا يحتاج إلى تفسير صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل به اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Ask for your hajat for this day in the name of Muhammad Baqir, Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam, and inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will answer it. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma kulli waliyika hujjat ibn al-Hasan salawatuka alayhi wa ala abayhi fi hadhihi as-sa'ati wa fi kulli sa'a waliyan wa hafidha wa qa'idan wa nasira wa dalilan wa hina hatta taskunu al-ghadawa wa tumati'u fi atwila bi rahmatika min sallallahu صلى على محمد وآل محمد.
متوجه زيارة اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم والعن وأهلك أعداءهم أجمعين. اللهم صل على محمد بن علي باقر العلم وإمام الهدى وقائد أهل التقوى والمنتجب من عبادك. اللهم وكما جعلته علما لعبادك ومنارا لبلادك ومستودعا لحكمتك ومترجما لوحيك وأمرت بطاعته وحذرت عن معصيته، فصل عليه يا رب أفضل ما صليت على أحد من ذرية أنبيائك وأصفيائك ورسلك وأمنائك يا رب العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد. السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا حبيب الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين يا سيد الوصيين، السلام عليك يا سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا حسن بن العلي المجتبى، السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله الحسين السيد الشهداء، السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين السيد الساجدين، السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي الباقر، السلام عليك يا جعفر بن محمد الصادق، السلام عليك يا موسى بن جعفر الكاظم، السلام عليك يا علي بن موسى الرضا، السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي التقي، السلام عليك يا علي بن محمد النقي، السلام عليك يا حسن بن العلي العسكري، السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب العصر والزمان، السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا بقية الله في أرضه. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك، واجعلنا من أنصارك وأعوانك ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آله في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.